I have a couple of objectives. I hope everybody is utilizing objectives every time you teach a class. Do you know the acronym SWABAT? Does anyone know what that stands for? SWBAT? SWABAT? Students will be able to. Perfect. Okay, so with every instructional lesson that you give, you should have that language top of mind. You can change, you can make it TWABAT. Talmidim will be able to, but you get the idea, right? So, given a 2-hour, precisely 2-hour, or give a 3-hour presentation on memory and retention. In this case, you are not students, participants will be able to, and here you have the objectives on the screen. Okay? So whenever you give a shiur, a class, whatever it might be, you always want to ask yourself, with this shiur, what will my Talmidim be able to do in terms of knowledge and skills? What information will they take in? What will I ask? What will they be able to do? What will I ask them to do to demonstrate to me that they've learned it? Right? We want to be in the business of collecting evidence that the Talmidim have actually learned. It's a different topic, but you get the idea. If I have an objective, then I have a chance. If I don't have an objective, then anything goes. So we really want to make sure we know exactly what our Talmidim are here to accomplish, and that's really what the objective is all about. So we're going to focus on 12 retention strategies, and you have them in your packet. You had them on the slide before, no mysteries here. We're going to go into each of them as we continue, and how they can be applied to your classroom to help your students recall information. I'm just curious, have any of you ever had the experience where you taught something and you thought you taught it really, really well, and on top of it you gave a test, and your Talmidim did very well with that test, and their scores were, let's say, class average of B or higher. And then a week or two later you reference something and it's complete clueless. Have you ever had that experience? Please shake your head up and down if you had, side to side if you haven't. I know the hour is late and some of you look a little bit low on the caffeine, so I just want to make sure we're moving here. Okay? So I had that experience many times. I taught a Gemara shiur for a number of years and other subjects as well, and oftentimes it would happen, I would teach something, they did really well, but then afterwards it was as if I never taught it before. And by the way, that's a very empty feeling. Right? We're working really hard. We're very creative people. We're passionate. We're excited. We love what we do. And we want it to stick. For us, it typically does. We'll talk about that later because we teach it. When you teach something, you remember it. But when you're a passive learner, you forget it more rapidly. So we have to talk about how to ensure that retention is actually occurring. Okay? And then again, to identify specific applications for your classroom by building retention strategies into your lesson plans. Okay, so that leads me into the first question. Actually, we're going to get to that in a second, but this is how I'm going to measure success tonight. Can we list and briefly explain the 12 strategies? Right? When we're done, I should be able to ask you, and you should be able to tell me the 12, not by heart. You should be able to look at your paper and say, these are the 12 strategies, and this is what they mean. You should be able to have a conversation with the person next to you and discuss it. That would mean that I was successful tonight. And if you can't do that, that means that I failed in some way. All right? And the second point, sorry, I'm not used to having the screen so far off to the side. The second one is identify 4 applications for your classroom. That means I don't expect you to do all 12 on a day-to-day basis, but hopefully you should be able to find 4 that you could use.